Are you ready to see some truly unusual American concept tractors that you may have never laid eyes on? Well, in this countdown, we're going to explore 12 remarkable machines that defy norms and help pave the way for modern agricultural equipment. Each offers an unforgettable glimpse into America's bold engineering spirit, bridging nostalgia with pure mechanical might. From giant steam traction engines to track-laying machines that can tackle unforgiving terrain, these oddball tractors are sure to amaze any machinery enthusiast. Let's begin. Number 12 is the John Deere Dane all-wheel drive. The John Deere Dane all-wheel drive was a forward-thinking machine born out of Deere's desire to expand beyond plows and cultivators. Though John Deere would later become a household name in tractor manufacturing, back in 1918, the Dane project was a bold experiment. Joseph Dane, a talented engineer, championed the tractor's design to address the shortcomings of the era's early farm equipment. The biggest claim to fame was the use of all-wheel drive, an uncommon feature at a time when many manufacturers stuck to two-wheel or simple four-wheel designs. Technically, the Dane utilized a unique gear system that allowed power to be transmitted to each wheel, giving farmers better traction on difficult terrain. In an era dominated by belt-driven attachments and single-purpose designs, that sort of grip and stability was unheard of. This tractor also sported a hefty two-cylinder engine and a robust build that aimed to tackle everything from plowing tough soil to hauling heavy loads. Despite its advanced features, the Dane all-wheel drive was expensive to produce. Around 100 units were built, making it incredibly rare. Over time, John Deere pivoted to the now famous Waterloo Boy line, leaving the Dane to become a curiosity in tractor history. However, its cutting-edge all-wheel drive concept foreshadowed the future of high-traction machines. Collectors today regard the Dane all-wheel drive as a significant stepping stone in the evolution of American agriculture engineering. Number 11 is the Allis-Chalmers fuel cell tractor. Now, in 1957, Allis-Chalmers introduced one of the more futuristic concepts in agricultural machinery: a tractor powered by fuel cells. By harnessing a chemical reaction between hydrogen and oxygen to produce electricity, this experimental tractor ran quietly without direct combustion. At a time when nuclear power and space-age tech captured American imagination, Allis-Chalmers leapt into the scene with a glimpse of tomorrow's farming potential. The heart of the concept was a 100-cell alkaline fuel stack that generated about 15 horsepower. Meager by today's standards, but downright revolutionary for the day. Now, the tractor itself was a modified Allis-Chalmers farm model, refitted to accommodate the sizable fuel cell array and associated cooling and electrical systems. Tucked away under the hood, this advanced power source demonstrated that farm equipment could one day break free from gas or diesel reliance. Though no commercial version ever appeared, the fuel cell tractor made waves in engineering circles, opening the door to further research on alternative energy applications in heavy machinery. The concept also sparked public curiosity, appearing at expositions and making headlines in farming magazines. Ultimately, the high cost and complexity of fuel cells in the late 50s curtailed any immediate mass production. But the Allis-Chalmers fuel cell tractor stands as a milestone, hinting at the potential for cleaner, quieter agricultural machines, which was an idea that resonates even more powerfully today as the world revisits alternative fuels. Number 10 is the International Harvester HT340. By the early 60s, space-age fever had a firm grip on American innovators, and International Harvester took a bold step into that realm with the HT340, a turbine-powered tractor. Powered by a Boeing-designed gas turbine engine, this prototype promised remarkable power-to-weight ratios compared to piston-driven engines. At demonstrations, onlookers would marvel at the near jet-like whine emanating from under the hood, convinced that the future of farm machinery might just be turbine-powered. The HT340 was no ordinary tractor. Its engineers had to solve intricate challenges, like how to manage the turbine's high operating temperatures and how to maintain enough torque at slower operating speeds, critical for fieldwork. 2 prototypes were built, each featuring advanced hydrostatic transmissions, a futuristic-looking operator's console, and styling more akin to aircraft than agricultural equipment. Although the idea of a turbine tractor conjured images of unstoppable power, turbine engines were expensive. They were guzzling fuel and required special materials that could handle that immense heat. The stumbling blocks, coupled with the practical needs of farmers for reliability and affordability, meant that the HT340 remained purely experimental. Yet its legacy endured. The project influenced future turbine research, and its hydrostatic transmission concepts found their way into subsequent International Harvester models. Today, the HT340 stands as a remarkable piece of engineering history. an American vision of tomorrow's tractor that helps shape ongoing discussions about how to modernize farm machinery while balancing cost, complexity, and performance. Number 9 is the Oliver Wight 4150. In 1974, Wight Motor Corporation introduced the Wight 4150, sometimes referred to as an Oliver Wight 4150 in tribute to its Oliver heritage. The tractor represented an attempt to consolidate the engineering prowess of Oliver, Minneapolis Moline, and Cockshutt under Wight's corporate umbrella. While not entirely a one-off prototype, it was produced in very limited numbers and served as a showcase of advanced features for its day. Rated at roughly 150 horsepower, the 4150 used a 3208 Caterpillar V8 engine, an unusual choice in a tractor industry dominated by inline-six diesels. It also featured four-wheel drive, a pivoting center articulation, and a semi-advanced cab design for better operator comfort. This was intended to position Wight at the forefront of innovation, competing against bigger names like John Deere and International Harvester. While the 4150 did find some buyers, its unique attributes and higher price point kept it from achieving mainstream success. Mechanical complexities and the cost of maintaining a V8 engine in a farm setting, that also limited its widespread adoption. But nonetheless, the 4150 left a strong impression on enthusiasts who saw it as a bold statement, a tractor that combined the heritage of multiple historic brands under one roof. And today it's a prized collectible for fans of Oliver and Wight, marking an era when manufacturers were experimenting with new designs to stand out in a crowded marketplace. Number 8 is the GE Electrac. While most conceptual tractors on this list are large farm machines, General Electric's Electrac line was aimed at smaller scale tasks, essentially electric garden tractors. Produced from 1969 till 75, the Electrac family arrived at a time when environmental concerns were beginning to simmer, and the notion of electrical power in yard equipment was revolutionary. Though it wasn't just a single prototype, the entire range functioned as a conceptual leap in how we approach land care. Electracs were battery-powered, running on a 36-volt DC system, which was pretty cool. Models like the E15 and E20 offered power that was comparable to a small gas engine in real-world tasks like mowing, tilling, and snowblowing, thanks to a range of PTO-driven attachments. The quiet operation and zero tailpipe emissions were major selling points, although the limited battery life and the relatively high upfront cost made them a tough sell in a market that was used to gas-powered simplicity. Despite modest sales, the Electrac proved that electric power was feasible in a tractor-like format, long before the term electric vehicle was common. This had a ripple effect. It laid some groundwork for later innovations in battery technology and electric motors, especially in the lawn and garden industry. GE's foray into battery-powered tractors remains a fascinating footnote in American manufacturing history, a nod to how forward-thinking concepts often appear before the market is ready to embrace them. Number 7 is the International TX178 prototype. Among International Harvester's many engineering experiments, the TX178 stands out for its forward-looking approach to farm work. Developed in the 1970s, it was designed to test cutting-edge technologies and new ergonomic features that could someday be integrated into IH's mainstream lineup. Only a handful of prototypes were built, but each intended to gather data on performance, operator comfort, and mechanical reliability under real-world conditions. What made the TX178 intriguing was its advanced hydraulic system, which allowed for quick-change implements and more precise control over attachments. Early digital instrumentation was also tested, giving the operator immediate feedback on engine performance and soil conditions. This also was a big leap in an era when most tractors had still analog gauges. Internally, the TX178 was powered by a diesel engine that was fine-tuned for high torque at lower RPMs, which aimed to increase efficiency and reduce wear. Though never mass-produced, the TX178 influenced IH's subsequent models by validating the feasibility of new technology in harsh farm environments. The lessons learned in hydraulic design, operator ergonomics, and data collection seeded ideas that shaped future models in the 1980s and beyond. In a sense, the TX178 was a rolling laboratory, a place where engineers could push boundaries without the pressure of immediate commercial success. Enthusiasts who track down information on this prototype see it as a missing link that helps explain how International Harvester evolved its product lines during a time of rapid technological change. Number 6 is the John Deere 62 Orchard Experimental. Orchard tractors present unique design challenges. They have to be compact, streamlined, and maneuverable enough to operate between tightly spaced rows of fruit trees. In 1937, John Deere dabbled with these constraints in a limited-run Model 62 Orchard Experimental. This machine was based on the John Deere Model 42, but heavily modified to accommodate the rigors of orchard work. Its low-slung profile and specialized fenders helped protect the delicate branches from being damaged as it passed. Although around 78 total Model 62s were produced, the orchard-specific variant was even rarer, essentially a concept to test the commercial viability of an orchard-friendly design. The tractor featured a smaller frame, a repositioned steering assembly, and carefully shrouded exhaust components so not to disturb fruit-laden limbs. An improved gear ratio aimed to deliver steady torque at lower speeds, a must for orchard operators with precise tasks like spraying and picking. Now, despite John Deere's strong reputation, the 62 Orchard Experimental never went into large-scale production, overshadowed by more popular general-purpose models. But still, this specialized unit sparked innovations that found their way into later orchard and vineyard tractors, like a narrower wheel tread or a shielded engine. Tractor collectors now see the Model 62 Orchard design as a testament to Deere's willingness to adapt to niche farming needs. In many ways, it paved the way for the specialized tractors that we see today in vineyards and orchards across America. Number 5. The Case 150 Road Locomotive. At the dawn of the 20th century, J.I. Case was already a famous name in threshing machines and steam traction engines. Their 150 road locomotive, introduced around 1905, was an ambitious and gigantic steam-powered tractor with road hauling and heavy field work in mind. Despite being referred to as a road locomotive, it still fits our concept category due to its extremely limited production. Fewer than 10 units were ever built. Essentially, it was a steam behemoth that could pull multiple plow bottoms or heavy freight wagons. Its towering profile featured a massive boiler, large diameter drive wheels, and a sturdy frame that was capable of supporting all that steam hardware. Depending on the build, the 150 road locomotive could generate well over 40 horsepower at the drawbar. Formidable for the time. Though this was enough muscle to haul loads on rough dirt roads or handle tough field work that smaller engines struggled with. However, the technology was complex, and these machines were very costly. Operating them demanded specialized knowledge of steam boilers and careful attention to pressure and water levels. By the 1910s and 20s, the rise of more affordable gas, or kerosene-fueled tractors, began to eclipse giant steam units like the 150. While not many remain, a few replicas and restorations have resurfaced in recent years, drawing crowds of steam enthusiasts at antique machinery shows. The Case 150 is now revered among collectors as a rare glimpse of how steam power once promised to reshape both farming and road transport, if only for a fleeting moment. Number 4 is Henry Ford's automobile plow. Now, before the famous Fordson rolled onto American farms, Henry Ford was already tinkering with ways to mechanize agriculture. One early endeavor was the automobile plow, a 1907 prototype that combined Ford's Model N car chassis with agricultural implements. Ford believed that adapting automobile technology could revolutionize farming, making plowing, seeding, and cultivating much faster and less labor-intensive. The automobile plow looked like a contraption straight out of a backwoods workshop, a stripped-down car body with extra bracing and a specially mounted plow attachment. It utilized Ford's gasoline engine and manual transmission, which some farmers found appealing as they were accustomed to basic automotive mechanics. Although it showed promise in small-scale demonstrations, there were immediate challenges. The chassis wasn't designed for heavy field use, and the tires lacked the traction required for deep plowing. At the time, the rural road system was still rudimentary, and the concept of an all-purpose machine needed more refinement. Despite not progressing to mass production, this prototype gave Henry Ford valuable insights. He soon channeled those lessons into developing the Fordson tractor, which launched in 1917 and rapidly became a market leader. Thus, the automobile plow stands as a vital stepping stone in Ford's agricultural legacy. It illuminated the limitations of simply bolting farm implements onto a car frame and pointed toward the need for purpose-built tractors, an idea that would eventually reshape farming all across the globe. Number 3 is the John Deere 8020 Diesel. Now, John Deere, in the early 1960s, John Deere took a significant leap into four-wheel drive territory with its 8020 Diesel, a tractor that some consider more prototype than mass-produced due to its extremely limited run. Only about 100 of these big machines ever left the factory. The 8020 was Deere's direct response to the growing demand for higher horsepower four-wheel drive tractors that can handle increasingly large implements and tougher field conditions. Under the hood, the 8020 housed a Detroit Diesel 671 engine capable of around 215 horsepower. Impressive for the era. Operators noted its rugged planetary final drives, stout frame, and robust drivetrain. It also featured an articulated steering system that significantly improved maneuvering for such a large tractor. Yet 1820's higher price tag and relatively niche market appeal kept it from becoming a bestseller. But despite modest sales, the 8020 proved that John Deere could build a highly capable four-wheel drive tractor for big acre farming. The lessons learned, particularly in powertrain durability and articulation design, laid a foundation for future high-horsepower John Deere models. In many ways, the 8020 diesel was a testing ground for the brand's evolution, paving the path for the more famed new generation tractors that would dominate the market in the following decades. Today, collectors and historians prize any surviving 8020 diesel for its rarity and significance in Deere's shift toward modern, large-scale agricultural machinery. Number 2 is the John Deere 4230 Low Profile. In the mid-1970s, John Deere introduced a low-profile variant of its popular 4230 model, an unusually squat machine designed for specialized work in orchards, poultry houses, and other areas with restricted overhead clearance. Now, while not a radical turbine or fuel cell concept, the 4230 Low Profile was still a rare sight on American farms, produced in relatively small numbers compared to their standard version. Its trimmed-down stance and lowered exhaust, coupled with modified wheels and fenders, offered a more compact silhouette that set it apart from typical row crop tractors. This adaptation allowed farmers to navigate tight spaces while retaining the power of the original 4230, which boasted about 100 horsepower. Hey, it almost looked like a tractor on tiptoes, jokes aside, but compared to John Deere's taller, more common models, that's what it looked like. The operator station was also lowered, meaning the seat, steering wheel, and controls were reconfigured for a snug fit beneath low-hanging branches or overheads. Though the low profile never achieved massive production or widespread recognition, it demonstrated Deere's willingness to cater to niche agricultural needs with tailor-made designs. Because most farmers opted for conventional models that were better suited for open fields, the 4230 Low Profile remains elusive among collectors who prize its uncommon form and specialized engineering. Each example showcases how creative thinking can shape equipment to match very specific tasks. Even without flashy turbine engines or futuristic bodywork, this tractor stands as a unique chapter in John Deere's history. Proof that sometimes practicality and a touch of ingenuity can make a near-concept machine that flies under the radar but still leaves a lasting impression. And number 1, Oliver's Corporate Tractor. In the mid-60s, Oliver set out to redefine its brand image by developing what some insiders called the corporate tractor. It was supposed to represent the future of Oliver design, streamlined, powerful, and loaded with advanced features that would stand out in a competitive market. Only a prototype or two were rumored to be fully constructed, but the concept generated plenty of chatter among dealer networks and farm professionals. Early sketches and internal documents all hinted at a tractor with a bold new styling approach. Think integrated headlights, a sloping hood, and a comfortable operator cab that was reminiscent of automotive design at the time. Mechanically, the corporate tractor might have used a heavy-duty transmission system and a higher displacement engine than Oliver's existing lineup, aiming to break new ground in horsepower ratings. Before the corporate tractor could see production, though, Oliver was swept into a series of mergers and acquisitions, eventually folding into White Motor Corporation. With shifting corporate priorities, the prototype never reached the assembly line, but nonetheless, rumors and partial glimpses of the design fed the imagination of farmers and collectors, many of whom still wonder how Oliver might have changed the industry if the corporate tractor had come to market. It remains a big what-if in ag history, a symbol of unrealized potential during a transitional period for one of America's iconic farm equipment manufacturers. Thanks for joining us on this nostalgic look at these 12 unusual American concept tractors that you've never seen. Each one stands as a tribute to good old-fashioned ingenuity, creative leaps that shaped, or at least nudged, the future of farm machinery. Hey, if you enjoyed exploring these rare prototypes, stick around for more stories on forgotten machines and pioneering designs. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming deep dives into America's mechanical past. I hope you found this video helpful, and share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep that conversation rolling. Until next time, happy reminiscing!